Welcome everyone to the PowHer discussion of what promises to be an amazing Women's History Month in New York City. Tweet your questions to @POWHERNY on Twitter. After the event, this hangout will be available on YouTube and through www.powherny.org. Please note that PowHer is strictly nonpartisan, nonprofit, and available to you to watch at your discretion. The United Nations is hosting the Commission on the Status of Women, which meets in the city every year in March. But this year it is reviewing the global agenda set by the Fourth World Conference on Women. This conference, which met in Beijing, China in 1995, celebrates 20 years of the document and agenda created to bring women into the world as full players. Marked by accomplishments, however slow, the Beijing Platform for Action, as the agenda is called, remains the most comprehensive, forward-looking document ever created on women's rights. In fact, the slogan, "Women's rights are human rights," was coined in Beijing by the then United States First Lady Hillary Clinton. The next 2 weeks will be full of events, meetings, and deliberations. More than 8,000 citizens from around the globe will join diplomats and politicians to review the progress made, gaps and challenges to women's equality. For some, the celebration started March the 1st, but for others it is just about to begin. Today we have with us Lopa Banerjee from UN Women. UN Women is the UN organization dedicated to gender equality and the empowerment of women. A global champion for women and girls, UN Women was established to accelerate progress on meeting their needs worldwide. Lopa is the chief of the civil society section at UN Women and leads UN Women's work on strengthening civil society's contribution, participation, and influence in the global and intergovernmental policy discussion and decision processes. We also have Dr. Susan O'Malley, the Vice Chair of the NGO Committee on the Status of Women in New York. There are 3 such committees operating in cities with UN centers in Geneva and Vienna, as well as New York, and now there are regional committees to begin to include advocates for women's rights in other places of the UN system. Susan is the main representative for the International Federation of Business and Professional Women and co-chair of the Planning Committee for CSW 59. She is also chair of the Communications Task Force for the Working Group on Girls. And finally, we have Katherine Garcia, co-president of the Metro New York chapter of the U.S. National Committee for UN Women, which seeks to advocate and raise funds for the programs and projects of UN Women. Katherine has been volunteering with the Metro New York chapter of the U.S. National Committee for 5 years and was elected to serve as co-president in 2014. She is a member of the founding team of the Center for Open Data Enterprise based in Washington, D.C., where she manages communications and outreach. I know her as an advocate for gender equality, sustainable development, and open government. Welcome, everyone. Lopa, let's start with you. I understand that you have a lot of public events in addition to the government meetings that you are facilitating. Can you tell us about them? I know that on Sunday you have a big march planned for the city and lots of other activities to engage the women of the world while they are in New York and even in their own hometowns. Lopa?
Thank you very much, Leslie, and welcome everyone. Indeed, these are 2 very, very exciting weeks that are coming up. The Commission on the Status of Women is always a very large public event, and every year that it happens, we welcome citizens from around the world. This year, we're expecting a much, much larger group of people, indeed, that there are many, many, many events that are planned both within UN premises as well as outside of UN premises. Let me start with the one big event that is going to take place on March 8th, which is the International Women's Day, and this is a march for gender equality and women's rights in New York City. It is called Planet 50/50 by 2030. Step it up for gender equality. And this march will begin at 2:30 p.m. and will continue till 5 p.m. Participants will assemble in the Dag Hammarskjöld Plaza, which is at 47th Street and 2nd Avenue, and they will march up to Times Square at 42nd Street and 7th Avenue. And of course, it's a public march. We are inviting everybody who's here in New York and who believes in gender equality to join this march. There will be a number of exciting people who will be marching. This includes people like Leima Bowie, the First Lady of New York City, Sherlyn McRae. There will be actors, there will be activists, activists. There will be many eminent gender equality activists who are here from different parts of the world who will be joining this march. So we really encourage you to join this march. Please go on to the UN Women website, which is www.unwomen.org, and you will find a lot of information on it, on the march. In addition to that, we are hosting a public event on the 10th of March in the evening from 7:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. at the Manhattan Center, the Hammerstein Ballroom. And this is, again, the event is called Planet 50/50 by 2030, Step It Up for Gender Equality. And this event will bring together a number of eminent speakers, performers, musicians, leading politicians, and it's a public event to drive commitment for gender equality. And then on the 13th of March at the UN, at the ECOSOC, which is the Economic and Social Council Chambers at the UN, we are hosting a day-long intergenerational dialogue, which is going to really focus on what are the crucial barriers to achieving gender equality, and the conversation will take place among young people, more experienced voices, policymakers, civil society actors, youth groups, and a number of different constituencies of people. And the discussion, which we hope to be very interactive in nature, will again focus on what are the actions necessary to accelerate gender equality by 2030. And the reason we're saying 2030 is because it is high time we had an expiration date. 20 years ago, in 1995, when the world's women came together, they thought they were leaving the Beijing World Conference with a plan of action that they would achieve in the next 5 to 10 years. And here we are, 20 years later, very slow progress. And this is why these 2 weeks are focused on accelerating implementation of the gender equality.
These events are free and open to the public, are they not?
All of these events are free and open to the public. The march is free, open to the public. The March 10th evening event is free and open to the public. The event at the ECOSOC chamber on the 13th is open to those who will have registered for the CSW and those who have passes for the CSW. That is an official side event of the Commission on the Status of Women. So that is not broadly open to the public, but open to whoever will be registering for a CSW.
And the 8,000 women who are coming from around the world, are they all signed up for the CSW?
They have all signed up for the CSW, and they will all be registering. The registration starts tomorrow and will continue through the next days. Actually, will continue well into the first week for as long as people are going to be registering. So actually the registration continues the entire period of CSW, though we expect the peak period to be the forthcoming weekend. And
isn't there a rally also that's associated with the march at Times Square?
So this is the one thing that is happening. The rally is actually being combined. So it's a one march. Usually there is a rally, but this rally has now been folded into the march. So it's the one combined march for gender equality that everybody will be supporting and marching for. We encourage everybody to bring their own materials, banners, whatever you want to the march. There is a flyer which has been shared, and as I said, please go onto the website and you will find information on it. You can tweet it. There's a Facebook page. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds very, very exciting, and I think that there are a lot of things that people can do who are not even registered. Susan, I know the NGO Committee has been working all year toward this end, and the committee in Geneva hosted a meeting of NGOs to prepare for this back in November. What has the committee been doing here in New York? What do you have in store for people who aren't registered for the official meeting that Lopa is talking about?
Well, we've been very busy. What I'm going to do is outline 5 events and then tell you why I'm so excited about them. And the first event is our consultation day, which will be at the Apollo Theater, and that on March 8th. There are still a few spaces available if you're interested in that. So far, we have 1,213 people coming. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And then we leave that and we go to the end of the march. In other words, our day gets over at 3, and then we run off to Times Square to join Lopa. We're also working on the NGO CSW. New York is working very hard on the march. We also have a reception, and that is March 9th at the Armenian Center, and we have 700 people now that are coming to that. Our third is 430 parallel events. Can you imagine 430 events we're putting on in 3 venues, the Church Center, the Armenian Convention Center, and the Salvation Army. And then, of course, we have events that are co-sponsored with missions and are in different missions and also inside the UN. And then NGO CSW has its own events co-sponsored with various countries. And then, we have caucus meetings. I'm very, very excited about them. And that's in the 5 regions. They will start Monday on March 9th. And for the first one, we do advocacy training. We've done this wonderful, wonderful advocacy booklet with the help of the Swiss government. And with the conferences before the CSW in the 5 regions, we did advocacy training in the 5 regions. And this is to help people to negotiate or figure out how to negotiate the UN. It's a wonderful booklet. So the first caucus meeting of each caucus, the 5 caucuses, and that is, let's see, Latin America and the Caribbean, Asia Pacific, Africa, North America, and Europe, and the Arab states. So for the first meeting, we will do advocacy training, and a lot of this is to put pressure, yes, and Lopa, you'll be pleased to hear, if the political declaration is, we're organizing right now to be as much help as we can, and certainly on the working methods document. My caucus has over 500 people, and we're busily exchanging, and you have kept us up to date. And then finally, the artisan fair. We have a wonderful artisan fair on March 9th, and that will be at the Armenian Center. It's open to everybody, and it's going to lead into our reception too. So people who go to the artisan fair and the reception, they'll be sort of one and the same at the very beginning. And then some of us are going to go to 2 receptions, Lopa. We're going to go to yours and ours somehow. So, all right, so that's that. Now, what I'm really excited about is Consultation Day. I am so excited. Now, why? I love the Apollo Theater, and I'm emceeing the event, or co-emceeing it. So I'm
and that event costs $110, right? People sign up on your website?
That's right, but we survive, as you know, as a past chair of NGO CSW, you know how important that money is. But you know who's coming is Gertrude Mandela. I cannot be, I mean, she was, her official title was the Undersecretary General for the UN 4th World Conference on Women, and she is coming. And we hope she will hand off at the march. I hope you've figured this out, you know, to the young. I've taught women's studies for many, many years, and so sometimes I have taught the Beijing Platform for Action, which I have right here. If anyone, you can get it on Amazon. And I teach this, and then I teach Gertrude Mandela's speech and show her on tape. She is magnificent. But besides that, we have Dr. Gertrude, Mary Robinson's coming. She just agreed to come. We are having, Pumzili is coming, the Executive Director of UN Women, and we're giving an award to Ruchira Gupta, who's a human rights activist who has fought against the trafficking of women and girls for over 25 years. We end the day with a panel of young people, young activists, who talk about how they're going to implement Beijing, or how they have, and the future, and strategize. And besides that, we open with a women's mariachi band, And we have music from women of the world singing songs from the countries from the 4 international women's conferences. It's going to
Well,
be
the event sounds
absolutely
very exciting, and I think that what you mean to tell people is that they can sign up on your website. What's your website again?
NGO CSW New York. It's not hard. Yes, you can sign up.
So it's
Now,
ngocswny.org, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so people can sign up for that exciting event, and it is International Women's Day, so it should be something very exciting for everyone to participate in. That and the march, I think, are both very exciting things for us to use to celebrate that day and to really make note of all of the various advancements we have been able to make with women's issues, but also to take note of the fact that we still haven't gone as far as we need to go.
Way to go.
And as people have always said to me, women's work is never done, and also we need to try to move forward on trying to get equality for women and women's human rights addressed throughout the world sometime before the next 15 years is finished, rather than waiting for 95 years like the World Bank has predicted. So I think that it's very important also to emphasize the fact that that you want to have people sign up and attend all of the parallel events, which in fact are free and open to the public.
Yes.
And that would be at the Armenian Center. What's the address for the Armenian Center? Do you happen to know offhand?
I have it down here somewhere.
I know it's on 2nd Avenue. And
630 2nd Avenue. 630 2nd Avenue.
630 2nd Avenue. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Salvation Army is on between 2nd and 3rd. East 53rd, I think, unless it's 52nd. But anyway.
52nd, I think it is, yeah. And then the Church Center, can you tell people where that is?
Well, it's 1st Avenue and 44th Street.
Great. Wow, it sounds very, very exciting. I'd like to move on to Katherine, if we could. Thank you for sharing all of these plans, Susan.
Come join us, that's all I can say. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, and between you and Lopa, I think that we're already exhausted, but Katherine has something exciting to tell us. We can hear about her stellar event planned by the U.S. National Committee for UN Women. I know that my own organization, Zonta International, will host one of the events on Monday at 4:30 in the Armenian Center. It's sponsored with the U.S. Fund for UNICEF. And Katherine, your event sounds very interesting, addressing women in the media, which is one of the 12 critical areas of concern that came out of the Beijing Platform for Action. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Well, first, we actually have 2 events on Monday. One is a panel in the afternoon, and I'll go ahead and go into that, and then also a reception in the evening. So what's interesting is that we wanted to take a look at women in the media. And what this all came about is my co-president, Michelle Lira, and I, and our former president, Cheryl Benton, also have worked in advertising and media and publishing. And we felt like this was a very strong topic, especially with the celebration of Beijing+20. Just a quick statistic, worldwide, advertisers will spend nearly $600 billion worldwide, with the leading countries of the US, China, Japan, Germany, and the UK. In the US alone, in 2015, there'll be $189 million spent in advertising. And so when you look at advertising, you know, brands are spending millions of dollars on looking at how effective the brand is, the brand trust, the credibility, and if the advertising is stereotypical, if it's sexist, if it's riddled with stereotypes, that is not a good use of the money. And so we have a panel called Gender Representation in Advertising, Socializing Sexism and Breaking Stereotypes, and we have a fantastic panel. This is made up of experts in media, in gender issues, in their marketers, their advertisers. Just to quickly list off the organizations that are involved, we have MEC Global, Vogue, Leo Burnett Toronto, Gray Advertising, Cosmopolitan, and BBDO. And all of these panelists are going to be speaking about their experience and what advertisers can do better to more positively shape the perceptions of women and girls and to advance gender equality. So that will be the panel. It's actually from 2:30 to 4 at the church. I'm sorry, it's at the oh no.
Church Center for the UN, I think.
Yes, Church Center for the UN. And in the evening at the Hungarian consulate, we are hosting an event with a similar theme, Women in Media. And we're going to be honoring advertising agencies that have really led with positive and inspiring and empowering messages. And these themes have, they're from education, they're from economic empowerment, and they're the most, just the best messages that we could find. And if you would like to see the ads that were selected, if you go to our Eventbrite page, and really all of this information is on our website, which I'll give to you in a second, you could see the videos of these different advertisements that we're going to be honoring at our event on Monday evening.
So there's a fee for the reception at the Hungarian consulate, right?
Yes. So
yeah.
for,
it's like $35 or something, it seems to me, or am I right about that?
Yeah, so it's $35 for members, and we do encourage you to become a member of the U.S. National Committee for UN Women if you're not already.
Oh, that must be why I remember the $35, because I'm a member.
And if you're not a member, it's $50. And the $35 goes to members of USNC. That's if any chapter in the United States. And if you'd like more information, you can go to unwomen-metronewyork.org.
So it's unwomen-metrony?
Yes, metrony.org, and that lists all of the information for both events that I talked about. And I also just going back to the march, we have been spreading the word about the march. All of our members are coming. We have spread the word to chapters from
150 events that you find listed on their website as well, so they can find out about the panel either on the NGO CSWNY.org website or on the USNC-metrony.org website, correct?
Yes.
Good, good. I'm getting this all down because I have to have it memorized for all the people who are going to be asking questions. Anything else you'd like to say about that?
No, just really excited for CSW 59.
Good, good. And Lopa, I know that there are also some side events that are going on at the UN that perhaps people can still sign up for. How would they find out about that?
So, as I said, please go on to the website, www.unwomen.org. There are over 200 side events that are taking place over the next 2 weeks during the CSW at the UN premises. Not all of them require special invitations. If you have a UN grounds pass or if you're registered for the CSW, then you can access those side events. So, you can also access those side events through the various governments and missions. Several of these side events are also taking place off-site, meaning they're not within the UN, they're in surrounding spaces, and in those spaces you don't need to have the UN grounds pass. So certainly I would suggest that you go on, I would highly recommend that you go on to both of these websites, the NGO CSW website as well as the UN Women website, for all of the side events together. Between the side events that NGO CSW, the parallel events that civil society organizations are hosting, and the side events that are being held within the official spaces, there are over 600 side events that are taking place over the next 2 weeks, and many of them are also webcasts.
So now is the time to really find out about what's going on in terms of women's issues around the world, either through your television set or your PC at home by accessing web TV, the webcasts that you mentioned, which are happening at the United Nations, or by showing up in person and attending any one of the free and open public events, or by RSVPing on the side events on the UN Women website to see if there are tickets available where you could come in and also participate in those events. I know that Zonta International is doing one with UN Women and with the Mission of Denmark to the United Nations, and that's going to be at 11:30 in the morning on Thursday, the 12th of March. And we still have the opportunity to accept a few more RSVPs, so if people are interested, they can find it on that side event section of your website. Lopa and Susan and Katherine, I thank you all for sharing all of these plans. Folks, we enjoy and we encourage you to be part of us and to take part in this historic time by participating in these events beginning Sunday, March 8th, International Women's Day. We look forward to welcoming you and look forward to meeting you. For the PowHer New York Network, we thank our panelists for participating in this Google Hangout, which will be posted on www.powherny.org, and that's POWHERNY.org. Thank you again, and we hope to see you in the next few weeks.
Thank you.